Oh my gosh.
It's
Soul.
really interesting. It's not called Soul, but Soul, the movie
Ooh.
Soul.
Oh,
wow.
Can we talk
So
about it for a
good.
second?
So
Fantastic movie.
Love that movie.
Tell us about
I
it.
feel like previous to Soul, every other Disney, Pixar, whatever movie for kids that had some sort of like concept of death in it just touched on it and then walked away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And like Soul is literally addressing and looking at it like head on
Mm-hmm.
and opening like this question for them and this conversation for kids to then go and talk to their parents about like what that means.
Yeah.
And we're not saying like what happens in that movie Soul is truth or fact.
Sure.
But it like opens this conversation. I am so passionate about this movie. I
Oh my
love
gosh,
it.
because it's making things that are abstract like into something tangible that like a
Yes.
kid can be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Because
to
if
me.
we all think about our first experience of death or like first realizing like, oh man, there's like we all eventually end, right? And imagine
Well-
just like having that movie as a kid just to have a conversation about it, you know?
Absolutely.
Not like, oh, it's like Bambi's mom. She died and that happens and here's the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's like a movie I just love it so much.
I think so
It's the
too. I
best.
think, like you touched on, it leaves a good amount of space for your own impression. You know, like it doesn't address about like religion or anything like that, but you
Right.
could still kind of impose that on it a little bit in the sense that like it is that space between, you know, here and whatever there is for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that little intermediate piece. So
Sure.
I like that about it. And I also think, I mean, you said a lot about it when we watched it. You were like, if I wish I had this as a kid, I wish I had this as a kid. And I was like, tell me more about that. Cause what do you mean? Like in the sense, like how would it have benefited you as a child?
Are
Yeah.
we going to enter
Well-
spoiler territory?
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
maybe.
I mean, we can. We'll just say
No, I think it would
stop
have
watching.
it would have just
off.
better prepared me for like loss later on, you
Yeah.
know, like just that it is an open conversation and it's not just loss and that's it. And
Yeah, absolutely.
let's go on with the movie and go on with our lives. Like the fact that it's a conversation and exploring that, I don't know. Because I remember just being like 10 years old and talking to my dad and just saying like, there's space and then there's like beyond space and then beyond that. And he's like, you're 10 years old, chill, right? So like as a
But
10-year-old.
it's not something that kids aren't thinking about or like
Right.
aren't capable of
Yes.
grasping at a young age.
Yeah. So to have that movie, like, to just almost validate that crazy thought as a 10-year-old, like, oh yeah, other people are also thinking about this. It's just, I feel like it's
Disney
powerful,
is
you know?
gold, man.
Oh, it's so, I love it.
Somebody at Pixar is trying to bottle the human condition,
Yep.
like piece by
Yeah.
piece.
No,
They're-
I
And
think
that's
they-
the perfect
you know what
way
I
to
mean?
put it.
They're,
Yeah.
they're going.
somebody gained some credibility here because I think somebody pitched. It was somebody in the room that was like, you know, I'm really creating their backstory here.
Yep.
But I
Do
think this
it.
is somebody who was like, I really think that the kids could really benefit from this, and the Disney executives were probably like, I don't know, let's stick with the same old formula. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they get married, they have a great fat life, but they have some sort of trauma in the middle, you know?
Sure.
Like, let's just stick to the script here, Jeff. I don't know, I'm giving his name.
Yep.
And Jeff's like, no, I promise you, like, kids are going to benefit from this. And then they're like, all right, well, you know, we're billionaires, so let's just do it anyways. And they send it through. And I think this guy, whoever pitched this movie or the team or whatever, is going to really benefit from this because I think this
yeah.
opened a new chapter for Disney. Like,
There's-
way so
Absolutely.
much.
So many different themes in the movie too, not just death, but like you're saying, the human condition. Like just so
Totally.
many things that without actually tangibly having the words to say, they're capturing it, you know? And that I think it's powerful for kids. Even though they're not able to make that connection, I think somewhere
they did the
on a
same
level.
kind of thing with Inside Out too.
Yes.
Like
Yeah,
yes.
emotions.
making tangible, like what you're going through emotionally for kids is like, oh my gosh, that's huge.
And
for
even as
kids.
adults, like
Right.
us, we watched it as adults,
Of
you know, and
course.
it was still
Oh my
so
gosh,
powerful.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's a scene in like in Inside Out that I vaguely remember, of course, where it was like
Spoilers.
anger kind of takes over, and he like and when they're and he like driving, and I
And
was
it's
like,
the most like powerful emotion,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, and I was like, that is such a perfect way to like to explain it. Like, it's okay that you were angry, but like
Yeah.
you just can't stay in that because
Sure.
you know, and I love that switching. You know, they use this embodiment of like characters to
Yes.
you know validate these emotions.
And that there's room for each of them.
Yeah, and they
Mm-hmm.
all live in the same space. It's so cool. Anyways, I think what they did with Soul was incredible. I mean,
So good.